Now, I remember when I first got into the business world and I went to my first meeting, and it was, man, it was atrocious. One, it wasn't run well. I think everyone can agree meetings tend to be run terribly, but the actions of the folks that were in the room. Now, you have to understand this is pre cell phone, this is pre Blackberry, this is very early. I'm showing my age here. But I mean, it was people interrupting each other. There was someone who had to have the last word no matter what. There's people showing up late to the meet. All these things that were just happening. And I'm like 19 years old going to my first professional meeting that I thought it was a professional meeting, and it was just a complete show. Insert whatever word you want in the front of that. And that began my journey to figure out, why is it that people don't realize that they're sabotaging themselves in meetings. And today we're going to look at an article where they talk about these behaviors that people have, and I'm sure that all of you have seen them. And and again, trigger warning, I think is probably worthwhile in this video to start with here. That we're going to cover some of these, and yeah, there's more, but these are the 7 ones that that we're going to look at that really just undermine you if you're doing them as a professional. And later we're going to talk about how I intentionally coach my clients ways to be able to talk to their teams, but also to self-regulate so that they do not end up being on the list of people that just can't stand being around them in meetings. All right. So with that, I'm a business coach that works around the country, helping companies grow faster than I ever thought possible. This is just some of the information I share with my clients every single day, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get into this here. We are on Inc.com. Link is going to be in the description. 7 meeting behaviors that make you look really, really unprofessional. Again, it's expert opinion from Peter Economy. Sounds like a made-up name, doesn't it? But again, the leadership guy, and they've got his link there. Now, we already see a couple of them right here. Again, zooming, got your camera off, and checking your email. Which again, I understand that there's sometimes don't want to be around those. You want to be able to check out because this meeting may not be for you. This really, what I want you to think about as we're going through this. These are the meetings that you need to be there because it's important for you to be there. If you don't need to be in that meeting, I've got a whole other set of videos on how you should manage that. All right. Let's take a look at those meetings here. Again, this guy's second book, Better Business Meetings, is how the basics of meetings haven't changed much in the years. One thing the author discovered is that if you're not careful, engaging in bad meeting behaviors can at best make you look unprofessional. At worst, it can do permanent damage to your reputation and trustworthiness in the workplace. Let's see here. Chronic tardiness is the first one. When you consistently show up late to meetings, you demonstrate a lack of respect for the other participants' time. And that is exactly what that means, that you could not be their time. And the number one thing when I was coaching folks in the military, and it's what I coach leaders now as well, do not be late to your own meeting. If you call a meeting, you are not allowed to be late to your meeting. Not only, I mean, that is just blatant disrespect for the folks that you asked to be in that meeting. Because if it's important enough to get everyone away from the work that they're doing to get into a meeting, you better be there and acknowledge the fact that it's important. It's just ridiculous when I see that. And that is the easiest way to lose all credibility and trust within your teams. You call a meeting, you better be there on time. So the next one here is multitasking during discussions. Check emails, send text messages, or scrolling through your social media during meetings. You demonstrate your actions that you are not fully committed to the discussion. When I coach business owners, specifically on their Zoom calls with people, I tell them you have to clear everything. Matter of fact, I build them a screen blocker, which is a piece of paper with tape over it that they put on top of their screen, so they are not checking emails. That they're not having anything distracting them for when they're in that Zoom call. They are focused, locked in, and ready to go. Because it shows up. You can see it and the way people react. But you want to make sure you're visible as well too. But when you are in the meeting, a present in a physical meeting, yeah, your phone shouldn't even be out. It should be put away and nowhere to be found. Just have it away, and you need to be completely focused on those things. Again, just completely disrespect. And if the boss has called you in there and you have a minor part in the meeting, just because your minor part is over does not mean that you can then start multitasking. You need to continue to be locked in there that you're at that meeting. You have a later discussion if you should have been there in the first place. That's for later. While you're in a meeting, got to remember, you are being looked at by tons of people, and it's extremely important that you are respectful in the meeting, and there's ways to talk to people afterwards if it wasn't worth your time, okay? Poor preparation. Being unable to answer fundamental questions about a meeting's topics demonstrate a serious lack of professionalism, and quickly shows everyone you haven't properly prepared. There's a phrase that I coach my clients with is proper preparation is the hallmark of a professional. Like it, just remember that proper preparation is the hallmark of a professional. That you fully understand everything that you need, that you can understand going into those meetings. It's just your responsibility if you're going to be in there. If you get thrown a curveball, something that wasn't on the agenda, something that is not relevant to the topic, you are well within your rights to not be able to answer that one. And no one should be holding that against you because you are prepared for that meeting to speak about the topic and the agenda that you have. All right. So with that, that's one of the best known practices that I talk to my clients about too, is that there should never be a meeting where an agenda doesn't go out first. Like that should always be the case. There should always be an agenda so everyone knows exactly what you're going to be talking about and in what order. Okay, so they can be prepared. That's what you want to have. Dominating the conversation. Repeatedly taking control of discussions, interrupting others, or redirecting conversations to personal agendas. I tell you, some folks are the main character. We're all the main character in our own stories. Like that. That's a thing. We are the main character. But that doesn't mean that we need to have an opinion on everything, that we need to be able to chime in or talk about everything. It's something I've always struggled with is sharing my opinion on things. I found I've worked over the years to get the balance on there. But people always ask, hey, what's your opinion on this? I'm going to give them my opinion on there as well because I have prepared properly. But I've learned more about myself in meetings, in the way that I conducted myself. And one of them was that I dominated conversations. I just did. Once that was brought to my attention by somebody I worked with, was like, yo, dude, hey, you're going to out logic everybody in that room. And what it does is it tamps down on people providing additional information. This was when I was younger. I was like, okay, so I make an effort now, and it's my primary go-to in meetings is I just listen for as long as possible and wait to offer my 2 cents. It's something I had to learn how to do. And since I've done that, again, the amount of information that has come up and been able to bubble up as other folks are able to offer their view on on what's going on has been great. It really has. So that's just one of the things there. If you find someone's dominating the conversation, pull them to the side and just like, yo, hey, you're not letting other people talk, and frankly, it's not your opinion. Your opinion on the value that other people are bringing shouldn't negate their ability to offer their value. Because again, we've more times than I can count. Like it's in the hundreds of times where information has come up from other folks in meetings that has been beneficial to the folks that are leading the meeting as well as everybody else on the team. So don't dominate the conversation. If you see it, just pull them aside and say, hey, give everybody a chance to talk here. Avoiding accountability. This is always one of my favorites. Something comes up, there's an excuse, and now you're like, well, actually, that was such and such a fault. Or, yeah, I told her or him to do this, and they never got back to me. One of the things that we coach with my clients, and it's an extremely important thing that we coach with my clients, is that accountability is equally important as a responsibility, if not more so. So if you have the responsibility over a project, right, is cool, we've got that, but you are accountable to make sure that things are delivered properly, like something that we coach. So when you can't say as the person who has overall accountability for a project that, well, I sent the note over to Stacy and she never got back to me. That's the wrong answer. Stacy owes you a response. You have to stay on Stacy until you get your response. And if you can't get the response from Stacy, you then talk to your boss, who will then have a conversation to get you the information that you need. And if that doesn't work, we continue to move it up the chain until you get the answer you need, because you are accountable to You have the responsibility to see the project be completed. You are also accountable to ensure that those actions are taken, because if you don't reach out for help, that's your fault. 100%. 100% of the time, every time. All right. Inappropriate phone behavior. Now, this is one of those things, real quick. Sorry about that. We got this Texas dust that blew up in the last storm. Still got allergies, or new allergies showed up. Anyways, inappropriate phone behavior. No one likes when meeting participants are constantly playing on their smartphones, right? This thing. Nobody wants you to see this thing. It should not be out. It should be away. If there's an emergency, that thing that you're waiting on, that's something that you need to make sure you talk to whoever's running the meeting ahead of time. Say, listen, there's an emergency call that I might get, so I would like to be able to have my phone out. But for me, on my meetings, phones were not allowed to be out. Period. Dot. They had to be put away, not just turned over on top of the table. They're put away. They are, going to be. Don't even bring them into the room, as far as I'm concerned. You know what's going on. I don't want you having to search for information, or you should be prepared coming into the meeting. And that's one of the harder things for people to do now, is just, we depend on our phones for so much for information in communication. But that being said, just, they don't need to be in the room. Just leave them back at your office. Put them in your purse, put them in your briefcase, whatever you happen to have. A lot of folks are backpacks, but just don't have them around. Period. Dot. All right, all right, last one here is going to be our negative body language. The way that when you slouch, avoid eye contact, fidget excessively, or roll your eyes, you undermine your input. And that's the piece here. Now, folks, again, link's going to be in the description for this article. Please go check it out. Negative body language. The way that you are, you go through, and the way you carry yourself, and this is what the heart and soul about this entire talk is about here. Your meetings are, when you're in a meeting, that is you putting out to the world, here's how I am as a professional. This is what it's like to work with me. Possibly this is what it's like to work for me. This is what it's possible, if you want to bring me on this team, what it's going to be like, for me to work with you. So every second you are on display of what it is to be part of, basically have you on the team. Folks forget that. They really do. You are in a constant state of display and marketing for you at all times. It is. The unprofessional behaviors that we talked about here, they don't have a place in meetings. If you have an issue with the way that a meeting's being run, or you have an issue with the way someone is behaving in the meeting, you have a professional courtesy, basically a requirement of professional courtesy to go talk to them after the meeting. Have a conversation. They may not be aware. Like, again, I was not aware that I was dominating conversations. I appreciate the fact someone came and talked to me about that. Again, trying to be helpful in these meetings. So when you see this behavior with folks, you need to address it as a professional. Just go talk to them. It's okay. If they get upset, that's not your problem. Like, that isn't your problem. The issue is that's their problem to solve. And what I've found is that the vast majority of people, and this is much more than Pareto's principle, that 80-20. It's in the 95th percentile. It's the vast majority of people, when they hear from someone, be it a peer or one of their subordinates, about how well their meetings, how ineffective they are in their meetings, or the way that their behaviors are affecting, like I'm saying, the individual's ability to interact or be productive in the meeting. The vast majority of people are like, I didn't realize. Okay, what do you mean by that? And they learn about it, and they're going to adjust their behaviors. You owe it to people to give them feedback on that. Is really what it comes down to. The worst thing, and I mean this, the worst thing that you can do is not to say nothing. The worst thing that you can do is gossip about them behind their back and complain about how they are in meetings. If it's enough to where it's taking up your time and now you are gossiping about them, you are also a part of the problem. Just go talk to them. And again, this is what I coach my clients on, is if there's an issue going on, just, hey, do the person a solid. They may not realize that they're being socially awkward or socially rude. That's it. Just have the conversation, folks. It's that simple. It really is. So again, if you'd like to learn more about how I help businesses grow faster than you ever thought possible, again, feel free to reach out to me.